This is what you actually need to know to get 100% on SAT grammar questions. And I will be covering every rule that you come across, starting with the modifier rule. And to be clear, once you know the rule, modifiers are going to be one of the easiest question types you can come across. You just need to use the front flip trick. And the front flip trick is a little something like this. We want to take the beginning of our answer choices and flip them onto the front of the sentence with the blank space. And specifically, we want to focus on the main noun from the beginning of the answer choice. So right off the bat, existential there would sound something like, there are cheap, versatile, and easy to produce. That doesn't really make sense. So a little bonus hack for you, the word there is never going to start off your answer. Choice B, problems would be the main subject. So problems are cheap, versatile, and easy to produce. That doesn't really make sense. And then choice C would also be problems. And another bonus hack for you, if you have two answers with the same main subject, you could eliminate both of them. So finally, choice D, we have plastics are cheap, versatile, and easy to produce. That makes sense. So our answer has to be choice D here. And if you think modifiers are easy now, the next concept is probably the easiest concept you're going to come across on the SAT, and that is subject-verb agreement. The reason being is you can use something called the odd verb out trick, and you don't even have to look at the text to get the correct answer. And the odd verb out trick goes a little something like this. As soon as you notice that you have verbs as all of your answer choices, you are going to think to yourself, let's ignore the text and let's consider the words they and she. And then you are going to connect to the verbs in the answer choices. For example, we would say they fascinate, and we would say she has fascinated, she fascinates, and she is fascinating. In this case, the odd verb out is fascinate because it's the only one that connects to they, and it would be your answer. Let's look at another one. This time, instead of she, we'll use he, and basically you could use either he, she, or it. In this case, we would have they are, they were, they have been, and you would have he was. So our odd verb out now is was because it's the only one that connects to he. And again, it's our correct answer. Now, if you try to employ this trick and you notice that one of the answer choices is not working with either, or one of the answer choices is actually working with both, now you know that you're dealing with verb tense. And for verb tense, go through this process. First, going through the answer choices, read aloud in your head. The majority of my students can get these correct as long as they read out loud in their head. Just make sure that you do go to the end of the sentence. If you're still confused after that and trying to decide between answers, look for surrounding context. Context we might be looking for includes time-based words such as yesterday, or you're looking for other verbs and trying to match the tense of those verbs. So on this question, for example, you might notice 1927 indicating the past. You might also notice the past tense marked, the past tense was, the past tense premiered. So if we're looking for simple past tense, boom, we've got simple past tense right here with choice B, developed. And then as far as trickery goes in this category, some of the hardest verb questions on the SAT are actually going to test your understanding of punctuation as well. So be careful to look out for full sentences and specifically look for comma splices. Take this question, for example. If we're just focusing on this sentence here, we can get rid of this introductory phrase. Then we have, they sank into their cushions. Their bodies are deeply sluggish with goat meat. And if we stop here, we would probably recognize that sank doesn't really match, so we'd get rid of A. Their bodies deeply sluggish with goat meat would sound wrong because it's not a full sentence. And then their bodies were deeply sluggish with goat meat would match with our past tense sank, so we'd probably go with choice C here. But it's not going to be choice C because when we do that, we are actually turning this into a comma splice because we know they sank into the cushions is a full sentence. So then their bodies were sluggish with goat meat would also be a full sentence, and we would have a comma splice. Instead, we want the only answer that doesn't give us a full sentence, which is choice B here. For pronouns, all you need to do is find your antecedent and then match it with the proper pronoun. Your antecedent simply being the original noun that the pronoun is supposed to replace. So here, for example, starting from the beginning of the sentence, we have many traditionalists criticized the motorized vehicles because they considered blank dangerous. Motorized vehicles would be my antecedent that I'm replacing. So I want a plural object. My only plural object here is going to be them. So my answer is going to be choice A here. Be careful though, because some of the harder ones are going to look more like this, where the antecedent is kind of hiding from you. And to make things easy, get rid of any sort of non-essential information. A dash sandwich would signify non-essential information. We could also ignore the second half of this plural object here. And then we're basically saying when a specialized market requires massive expenditures, blank a minimal number of. So a specialized market is my antecedent in this case. A specialized market is singular. So we don't want these, we don't want they. And then it often consists of, or this often consists of. This is a weird one because it's normally going to be pointing to something nearby. And for something like specialized market, we would want to actually repeat this specialized market. So indeed, choice C, it often consists of, is going to be the correct answer for this one. For possession, I like to use the of the trick. So using the of the trick, we would say the powerful articles of the journalist. That does make sense. They should be possessed. So choice A is out of here. And then since we have a couple of options where articles is possessive of something, we would take the next word would here, and saying the would of the articles doesn't really make sense. And also, if the next word is a verb and not a noun phrase, it's never going to work. We can only possess noun phrases. So choice C and D would be out, and we'd be able to pretty easily choose B here. But if we did end up having to choose either singular or plural for journalists, we would simply look at the context because, you know, we did have this one. Let's pretend that this doesn't exist. And in this case, we just go back in the text and it says, Ida B. Wells is the journalist that we're referring to. So that's a singular person. So we would go with choice C, which is one journalist. And it's really just those handful of rules, but if you don't practice them, you are going to forget. So make sure to click the link in the description and get access to my free SAT starter kit. It's going to hook you guys up with free lessons and also practice questions so you're able to work on what you just learned.